Today on Inquirer, DOJ issues subpoena against suspended Bucor Director General Gerald Bantag. After Cambodian Prime Minister tests positive for COVID-19, Philippine official delegation to the recently concluded Asean told to get tested. United Nations Human Rights Council urges Philippines to end extrajudicial killings and red tagging. And 24/7 free rides in Edsa bus carousel to be implemented for the whole of December. Good evening. The subpoena issued against Bureau of Corrections Director General Gerald Bantag is deemed served to the suspended official, according to Senior Assistant State Prosecutor Charlie Guhit. To tell us more, here's John Eric Mendoza reporting live. Eric?
Yes, Neil, the Department of Justice National Prosecution Office issued a subpoena against suspended Bureau of Corrections Director General Gerald Bantag. The subpoena was in relation to his alleged involvement in the killing of Percival Mabasa, a radio commentator better known as Percy Lapid, and the death of supposed middleman of the murder plot. The development was announced by Senior Assistant State Prosecutor Charlie Guhit, who will be part of a three-member panel that is conducting the preliminary investigation on the case. Guhit said the subpoena server went to Bantag's residence in Caloocan. However, a barangay captain in that area told the subpoena server that Bantag has not stayed in the residence after serving as the top Bucor official. Instead, only the barangay hall in Caloocan, where Bantag previously stayed, received the subpoena, according to Guhit. Guhit also said that he has no information as to where Bantag is staying right now, but as far as the DOJ is concerned, the subpoena has already been served. According to Guhit, the National Bureau of Investigation and the Philippine National Police should inform the panel of prosecutors about the new address of Bantag before they could issue another subpoena to the suspended official. Bantag, however, said he would only show up if DOJ Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla resigns from his post. It can be recalled that Remulla said Lapid's expose may have prompted Bantag to allegedly order the killing of the broadcaster. Lapid was ambushed and killed near his neighborhood in Las Piñas City on October 3, sparking widespread condemnation in a high-profile investigation. Joel Escorial surrendered and was presented to the media on October 18. The same day, Cristito Palania, formerly identified by authorities as June or Crisanto Villamor, was reported dead inside the New Bilibid prison. Complaints were filed last November 7 against Bantag and other personalities implicated in the murder of Lapi before the DOJ Office of the Prosecutor General. Bantag is being accused of giving the order to kill Lapi and Palania.
Eric, let me go back a bit because there was some difficulty with your audio earlier. So the subpoena was received by the barangay, but the officials there say that Bantag no longer reside in that barangay, right?
Yes, Neil, that's correct.
So Bantag has not received the subpoena himself, but for the DOJ, what they're saying is it has been served.
Yes, as far as they're concerned, it has already been served.
Okay, so now what happens when Bantag does not respond to the subpoena issued against him?
Yes, Neil, the panel of prosecutors said that Bantag's failure to comply with the subpoena will be considered as a waiver to present his defense in a preliminary investigation, and the case shall be considered submitted for a resolution. The preliminary investigation, it refers to informal hearing where both parties are heard to determine whether there is insufficient ground to see if the case should be filed in court.
Okay, Eric, another question here. Has Secretary Remulla responded to the allegations made by Bantag against him, as well as the call for his resignation?
Yes, Neil, we actually have reached Secretary Remulla for his comment on Bantag's call for his resignation, but he has yet to respond with this, as well as the other allegations made by Bantag. But before, there were mounting calls for him to step down as DOJ secretary, following the drug charges of his son. But Remulla had said back then that he will not resign, and even President Marcos backed Remulla at that time. Name?
Okay, thanks Eric. That's John Eric Mendoza reporting live. After the Cambodian Prime Minister was confirmed positive for COVID-19, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has asked members of his administration's official delegation to the recently concluded Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN summits to get tested for the virus. In a statement, the Office of the Press Secretary said that Marcos got himself tested as part of the protocol for the upcoming Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC summit in Bangkok, Thailand. He had also instructed members of the official delegation to Cambodia to have themselves tested. The measures came after it was announced that Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen tested positive for COVID-19. Hun Sen was present during the 40th and 41st ASEAN summits in Cambodia, which Marcos attended. The OPS said that Marcos has extended his well wishes to Hun Sen. It is unclear whether or not Marcos's COVID-19 test results have been released already, but he was spotted earlier attending a departmental meeting with the National Economic and Development Authority. Several member states of the United Nations Human Rights Council expressed concern about the human rights situation in the Philippines. At least 30 states said that the Philippines should end impunity and bring perpetrators of extrajudicial killings to justice. Meanwhile, the United States, along with several other states, urged an end to the state practice of red tagging. A few had also urged either cooperation with the International Criminal Court or a return to the 2002 Rome Statute, which established that body. Bayan Secretary General Renato Reyes said these recommendations should be seriously considered by the government. However, Reyes noted that the government has denied that it engages in a policy of red tagging, saying the term was allegedly a mere invention of the left to protect the left. In response, Justice Secretary Jesus Crispina Remulla, who leads the delegation, told the UNHRC the country was already tackling the problem of EJKs through the continuous filing of cases against police officers involved in the killings. Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police on Monday vowed that killings in anti-drug operations would be minimized since the government is now focused on rehabilitation and education. The Department of Transportation announced today the implementation of 24/7 free rides in the Edsa bus carousel for the whole of December. The DOTr had initially stated that the 24/7 operations were scheduled to begin on December 15. In a statement, the DOTr said the decision came following the directives of Transport Secretary Jaime Bautista and in response to the expected influx of passengers during the Christmas season, triggered further by the extension of mall hours in Metro Manila. Bautista also said that the DOTr's Interagency Council for Traffic will also ensure security within the said period. It can be recalled that on August 16, 2022, the Department of Budget and Management added 1.4 billion pesos in funds to extend free rides on the EDSA busway and also as support for the implementation of the service contracting program of the DOTr and LTFRB. The Philippines will be wrapping up its Fiba World Cup Asian qualifiers bid at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan. Gilas Pilipinas is set to host Lebanon and Jordan in the arena in February next year for the final sixth window of the tournament. During the Philippine Sports Writers Association Forum, Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas Executive Director Sonny Barrios said that Gilas Pilipinas was really scheduled to play there, regardless of the outcome of the qualifiers. The Philippine Arena, which seats 55,000 people, is one of the three venues which will be used for the World Cup in August. Gilas Pilipinas last played in the Philippine Arena during the 2019 World Cup qualifiers in July 2018. The game was most remembered for the brawl that broke out in the third period that involved the Australian national team. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Ervin Santiago ng Bandera. Ervin?
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe, ito na nga ang latest Bandera Chika. Nakakaloka ang revelasyon ng actor, singer at record producer na si James Reid tungkol sa pag-alis niya noon bilang estudyante sa Makati Science High School. Knows nyo ba na isang buwan lang tumagal si James sa nasabing eskwelahan dahil hindi nga niya nagustuhan ang ginagawa ng ilang kaklase at mga schoolmates. Kwento ni James, palagi raw kasi siyang kinukunan ng pictures ng ilan sa mga kapwa niya estudyante at pagkatapos ay ibinebenta ang mga ito. Naloka nga ang aktor ng bonggang-bongga niyang malaman ang pinagagawa ng ilang nag-aaral sa Makati Science High School. Bukod dito, alam din daw niya na palagi siyang pinag-uusapan ng mga kapwa estudyante dahil sa kanyang itsura. Alam naman nating lahat na tisoy si James at ibang-iba rin ang estilo sa pagsasalita. Pero sabi ni James, hindi naman daw niya ito matatawag na bullying. Feeling awkward lang daw talaga siya sa atensyong nakukuha mula sa ibang tao. Marami talaga ang nagulat nang malaman nilang nag-aral pala sa Makati Science High School itong si James. May mga netizens pang ang naglabas ng mga prom photos niya bago pa sumali noon sa Pinoy Big Brother. Siya ang tinanghal na big winner sa nasabing reality show ng ABS-CBN. Kuwento ng binata, hindi raw niya makakalimutan ang eksena kung saan natrap siya sa isang mall ng dumugi ng mga tao matapos manalo sa PBB. Kwento ng aktor, mula raw noong manalo siya sa PBB ay hindi na naging normal ang buhay niya dahil nga kapag lalabas siya ay pinagkakaguluhan na siya ng mga fans. Tandang-tanda pa nga raw niya nang matrap siya sa loob ng isang store sa mall dahil nilapitan na siya ng mga tao kaya kinailangan pa siyang tulungan ng mga security guard para mailabas mula sa nagkakagulong fans. Yan ang tinatawag na pogi problems, di ba James? At yan ang Bandera Chika natin for today. Thanks Neil!
Salamat, Irvin. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.